All right, welcome back, fellas. Today we're doing a little. We're gonna be doing a market update. I really don't know what I'm gonna be talking about here. I don't know where this video is gonna go. My plan is to look into some charts, and look into some indicators, and kind of see where we're at in the cycle. So I'm gonna get straight into it. I'm not gonna really talk about my portfolio much. I might touch on it at the end if you guys want to see it. But I do have something I did in the portfolio which I'm not gonna reveal actually. Yeah, so I'm not gonna show you actually. I'm not gonna reveal until later this week. But yeah, so stay tuned for that. So yeah, let's take a look at Bitcoin right now. First of all, you guys know the drill. Peppermint tea. Delicious. Oh man. So, all right. Here's what I'm thinking. Bitcoin is clearly running out of steam, right? But I do not think it's over yet. Now, there's a couple reasons why, which I will go over in a little bit, but it is currently August 18th, and we have the Fed meeting, I think exactly a month from now. I think it's either the 17th or the 18th, so we have 4 weeks until that. We did just get this little wick up to an all-time high and then straight back down to the 50-day SMA. What I think is going to happen is we're going to probably see some chops similar to what we saw here. We might even see another dump down to about 110,000. Now, this is not a bad thing. I don't think the cycle's over at all. A lot of people are calling for a double peak like we saw in, I'll just show you here, like we saw in 2021 where we peaked here again. People are saying similarities. I don't think that's the case. Global liquidity is still increasing. And I really think Bitcoin has some short-term, quote-unquote upside until maybe the Fed meeting. But ultimately, a lot of people are calling for a pullback in September. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. Usually the markets like to do the opposite of what everyone thinks is going to happen. And everyone's kind of assuming a sell the news event when the Fed cuts rates next month. So we actually might do the opposite. Alright, so we might do the opposite, and it's really going to be interesting. Because I think this whole rally right here that we had, the past month, was definitely the rate. The market's pricing in a rate cut. That's pretty obvious, but where we go from the rate cut is going to be interesting. Because I still think we have time in this bull run. I think Bitcoin doesn't top until maybe October. We'll see. We are definitely getting close, but I think altcoins have a little bit room later than that. Probably November, early December range. But yeah, so let's take a look at some charts right here. First of all, total 3. As you can see, we're only sitting at 2021's previous all-time high. So if you think this cycle is over, you're horribly mistaken. Horribly mistaken, because you got to think the market makers, the whales, they are not stopping the cycle here. They're not saying, "Oh, yep, we did good enough. Let's stop making money. I'm satisfied." All right, there's some greedy fuckers. Okay, some greedy people out there, and they want to make more money, especially in these altcoins. This cycle has been a very just steady, kind of just stair step of a cycle where it's just so consistent. And what I really think is going on is the whales just want to seek some liquidity before they move higher. And I'm going to show you what I mean in a second, but look at alt dominance. It's so low that what I really think is just happening is they're squeezing as much liquidity as they can from Bitcoin first. Then they're going to squeeze as much liquidity as they can from Ethereum, and then large caps, and then everything else. So they're not worried about these altcoins right now. they might be accumulating a little bit, but their main focus right now is to squeeze as much liquidity as they can, as much juice they can from Ethereum first. Because think about it, Ethereum is playing with hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars. If they pump an altcoin right now, they can't squeeze that much liquidity. You know, if they go, oh, let's focus on pumping, even like Doge right now, what is that, 20 billion? Compared to Ethereum's, I don't know, it's probably a little bit more, maybe like 40 billion, I don't know, compared to Ethereum's 400 billion. So they're going after large caps first, and they're going to grow, like that actually is what's going to grow the total market cap, is by squeezing all of those, you know, larger cap coins. Now, let's take a look at some charts here. First of all, I want to talk about the Bitcoin liquidity heat map first, because I think this is very, very important. Now, what I just talked about, right, was, you know, this stair step of a cycle, how it's just been so you know, it hasn't been parabolic like these previous cycles. It's just been slowly up, slowly up, slowly up, just a steady increase. You can see that with Bitcoin. I mean, look at it, it's a beautiful, beautiful chart. And I think the market makers know what they're doing, because think about it, if they let this play out and pump, we could have seen something like 2021. So what I really think they're doing is they pump to the upside, right? Everyone goes long, they short the longs, they take their liquidity, they go higher, everyone goes long again, thinks Bitcoin's breaking out. Then they're like, oh, nope, let's grab more liquidity. More liquidity, more liquidity. You got to realize that retail doesn't have as much liquidity as the whales do. They control the market. So the richer they get is the richer we're going to get, because they're the ones that can actually push it higher. So yes, even though, you know, they're shorting people's bags and they're grabbing liquidity, they're getting richer and they're going to be able to push the market up. So that's very important, and I think they really know what they're doing. If we go here, this is the 1 year on the Bitcoin liquidation heat map. I'm going to zoom in on smaller time frames, but there's a big chunk of liquidity sitting at 111,000 right here. And it's the biggest portion of liquidity out of this entire yearly chart. You know, you can go back into the 50,000s, and you know, we have a big chunk right here. I really think that we're going to revisit 110. We're going to sweep this liquidity, and then they're going to continue higher and seek liquidity in the opposite direction. Because why would they push price higher if they could just liquidate this first? You see what I'm saying? So I don't know if the news is going to be, you know, Fed meeting or whatever, but they're probably going to liquidate this $110,000 range before they seek to go higher. You know, it just makes the most sense to me. Obviously, we could just rally higher and see new all-time high soon, but I don't know. I think if we do get a short-term rally, we might rally up towards like 122, 123, but ultimately, I don't know if it's going to hold. Maybe, you know, I really think we're going to sweep this 110 before we go higher, but I mean, I obviously could be wrong. But yeah, that's kind of just what I'm thinking. I don't think they're going to let this liquidity go to waste right here. It's a lot of money for them. I mean, look at that. It's 700 million in longs just at this price. We have 400 million. Like, this is billions of dollars here, just sitting right here, just to be claimed. Like, just think about it. It's either the market makers are thinking, they're like, oh, we can either get an extra billion or we can not get an extra billion. Like, why would they choose to just not liquidate these longs? Like, they're gonna, and this is only what? This is like a 5% drop in Bitcoin. It's not even that much. It does not take that much to drop Bitcoin 5%. So I think we're gonna see these lows, you know, revisit around 110,000 ultimately, and we will probably, if I go, oh, that's the portfolio. I was gonna show you that next time. There's a little sneak peek, whatever. If you go here, what I think is happening, here we go, pure greed. We're kind of grinding in this neutral / greed region, and you know, I think the more we grind and then we build up for that, you know, that last pump. I don't think they want the market to get too crazy right now because they know that they could just build more liquidity. So yeah, that's why I think we have a couple months left in the cycle, especially for altcoins. And yeah, as you can see, let's go to the MVRV as well. As you can see, this is similar to the fear and greed. You know, I think we've had this sideways action for so long. And you know, once this really crosses 4, like I don't think this cycle's not gonna just not cross at least 4. Like we're clearly in maybe a downtrend, you could say, but you know, we're gonna most likely break these all-time highs. You know, we've hit them twice already, and we're, you know, little uptrend. We're getting geared up towards a massive pump, in my opinion. Similar to what we saw here, but you know, just to a way longer extent. This was back in February, March-ish range that we've just been in this sideways motion. So I don't think we're at the peak yet. You could actually compare it more like 2017. Look at this, May all the way to the November. And actually, let's stick on that topic for example. So this is actually a great example because we saw this chop in the MVRV, right? Where Bitcoin slowly grinded up, but actually altcoins did not follow suit. They actually went down that entire year as Bitcoin was going up. I'll show you right here. This chart doesn't go all the way back, but look at this. 2017, altcoins bottomed in October. They literally bottomed in October of that same run, and they peaked in December. So as you can see, really only, you know, I see a lot of similarities to 2017 in terms of Bitcoin's grinding higher, but the rest of the market is just bleeding the entire cycle until we see alt season and the MVRV spikes. Look at this. So MVRV probably spiked starting in November, and yep, starting in November exactly, and we peak in December. So I think there's a very good chance that this happens again. I think there's a lot of similarities to this 2017 cycle. You can even say a lot about last year, but I feel like last cycle was a little weird because we had like the everything pump in May, and you know, it was just crazy, like that February, March, April, May pump of just everything going insane was just a little bit different. And ultimately we got an altcoin top, I think. Actually, no, technically it was in September, the altcoin top. But yeah, look at this pump in May. Just goes absolutely parabolic. And ultimately, I think that's what we're going to see again. So, you know, if we have altcoins here, how do I draw? Yeah, okay. We have altcoins here. Let's say we end around January over here. So we might go down. September, October, boom. And we just rock it. Might look somewhere more like this, but you know, you get the idea. Or it'll probably look something like this, maybe, with like a V-shaped recovery. And then, you know, October we just moon. That's probably what I see happening. And yeah, we're starting to get confirm this as well in the Bitcoin dominance. As you can see, plummeting. I think this next like local low right here is probably where we're gonna target next. Is this 55%? But personally, I think we're going pretty far down. I think we're gonna follow this cycle pretty far down. We might even see, you know, this range down here. I was thinking about the other day. Where is, yeah, rectangle. You know, really anywhere down here. But you know, we've seen this every single cycle, you know, 17 and 18. And I think we probably visit down here. It's interesting because I don't know if Bitcoin dominance is increasing over time or decreasing. This cycle is going to be a pretty good indication, because if we see a higher low and Bitcoin dominance only comes down to like over here to like 45%, 40%, more probably like 45. It's going to be interesting because this actually might be an uptrend. It just might show that Bitcoin is going to lead the market indefinitely, and just obviously that's an obvious conclusion, but there's at the same time that Bitcoin dominance might be increasing indefinitely as well, which is interesting because there is always the theory that it could be the opposite, because the crypto ecosystem is always growing. You have these other altcoins popping up and these other ecosystems that are growing, like Sui, like you have all these other chains, Base killing it this year. You have Hyperliquid taking a lot of liquidity, skyrocketing fast. I mean, you have all of these other, Solana, obviously ETH. You have all these other alts where the crypto ecosystem is just only getting bigger and bigger and better and better. So it could be interesting if we see a new low in Bitcoin dominance this cycle. We really could, and this could all the way come down all the way here. We don't know. Which my theory is that we go pretty low, because as you can see, we did see a lower high this cycle. So Bitcoin dominance only reached 65 so far. Last cycle it reached 73, almost 74. If we don't make a new high, which I don't think we are, I think time is running out for that. Yeah, it's interesting because we could be in a downtrend over time, but that's a little getting off topic. We're gonna have to just see how that plays out long term. But yeah, what was I talking about before? Altcoins. Yeah, so this is what I think is gonna happen. I think we see Bitcoin go a little bit higher. I'm expecting Bitcoin to go anywhere from, this is the top, okay? This is the top of the cycle I'm talking about. 126,000. I do think we need to make a new high eventually. 126,000 all the way up to 161,000 at this 2.618 extension of wave 1. I don't know if I don't think we see 160, but it is possible. It is possible. But yeah, I don't know if we see 160. I've been saying for years that I think 130 is probably the number. I think we have upside for higher, but it might be pushing it, especially since momentum is slowing down, but you never know. So yeah, in the meantime, I think we might touch the 20-week SMA in the next few weeks. We might do what we did here and not touch it and just come close to it, but yeah, I don't think we have that much longer of this sideways chop until we go higher. We're running out of time here before the 20-week SMA catches up. So if we drop down to the 50-week, this is the bull market support band essentially. If we go below this yellow line, bull run's over, honestly. Like, it's probably over. But yeah, I don't see that happening. If it does, then we kind of got to reevaluate, but I don't know. There's just not enough liquidity for whales to chase that way, and there's really no incentive for them to go down there. Hey, you have some liquidity sitting at 93, but I don't see a reason for them to really go down there. Especially because there's a lot of nothingness over here. I don't think it's even really possible. I don't know. But yeah, I don't think it's going much below 110,000 short term before we see an all-time high. But I expect the rest of the market to do all right for now. But ultimately, this is what I expect, is a bounce in Bitcoin dominance before it plummets again. And we might just see something like this where we go up sideways a little bit, and we just drop off a cliff in Bitcoin dominance. That is probably what I imagine happening. So yeah, until then, we might see some bounces in alts. Look at we got Chainlink doing well, but I don't think we see a new all-time high in alts until Ethereum at least makes a durable all-time high here. I think it needs to kind of pass this 5,200, 5,400 range, and then we can kind of talk about an alt season. but yeah, I think that's probably even closer to like 6,500 or 6,000. I think once it hits around 6,000 to 6,100, like this 2.0, then I'm gonna start talking about alt season. But until then, we can't really say much because it's not alt season. So yeah, we gotta just stay patient. But that's kind of what I think about the market right now. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I would love to hear some of your feedback and what you guys think, really. So drop a comment. It could be anything. But yeah, this is what I think is going to end up playing out. Similar to a 2017 cycle, skyrocket, Fed cuts rates, and that's it. I don't know. There could be some things I'm missing, but looks like any other cycle. It really does. But yeah, that's all I got. Oh wait, CBVI as well. Let me show you guys this. Is CBVI, which is the confidence we are at peak. It takes into account a bunch of different metrics here, and usually it's a very, very good indicator at showcasing where the top is. When this is high, we're at tops, even if it's a local top. But yeah, we're not at those numbers yet. As you can see, we're doing more sideways action. I think we just spike higher very, very soon. We're in this ascending breakout triangle, and we're building up. We're building up for the rip. Like it looks kind of obvious in my opinion that we're just building up for the rip, but could be wrong. Who knows? That's just what I think. That's pretty much it for you guys. I don't want to go too crazy into everything. So yeah, also one thing to note, DeFi is not even at its TVL all-time high. You really think the cycle is over without this breaking its all-time high? Dude, you're horribly mistaken. Horribly mistaken. Yeah, that's all I got. I'm not going to ramble on too long. This is probably a long video, but I'll see you guys in the next episode. It's going to be a portfolio update. Stay tuned.